Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. This time, we are discussing Toy Time Trials, which is our alliterative way of saying we're talking about playing toys and inanimate objects. So, well, mainly toys, because we're trying to stay focused. But, so, that's what we're doing this time. Let me see. We've got some announcements. Let me see. Dan went first, so I'll go first this time. The things we have going on, we have our Mondays live at 11 that we've been trying to keep up. Lord willing, we've been able to handle that. I do a live stream. Right now it's on YouTube. I think maybe in March I'll shift it over to Rumble. We'll see how things go. Or maybe a little before that, we'll see. But time will tell. And we have a special recording we did with Dan and, let me see, Dan, Zachariah, Kristen, and Jacob were all of the participants in it. And there's basically 4 recordings, and they tie into the other channel, which I'm working on, trying to get restarted and reinvigorated, which is The Gentle Voice. And the type of content there is going to be ministry-based, so if you have some suggestions in that, I am open to them. But it is a set of recordings based upon how your faith has influenced your gaming and how your gaming has influenced your faith. So, hopefully, those will be interesting and fun to listen to for everybody. As far as other things, I think we're pretty much set from me. So, Dan, what you got?
Well, hello everyone. Dan from Avenue Studios. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. And of course, with these themed month collaborations with the Inn of Planar Crossroads, we take the ideas we discuss here on Around the Hearth each month and turn them into a one-shot that we play with our supporters. So we stream that on Rumble, and then it is later uploaded to YouTube. Second Thursday of the month, we build the one-shot, and then the last fourth Thursday, because sometimes there's 5, fourth Thursday of the month, we play it live with some of our supporters. So love to see you there if you want to join us for that. And then, of course, After Quest, our Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern show, live on Rumble. Join us for that. Become a part of House Horsey, which is the house of chat. Whoever is in chat is a part of the house and grows the house in size and power. So we'd love to see you there.
Yeah.
And the last announcement for us is that we are announcing our West March style Kingmaker from Pathfinder 2nd edition in Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Exclusive for our supporters in our Discord. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be some crazy play-by-post farm building like we talked about in the last Around the Hearth, and then some of the other tiers of our support will get to play in the actual story mode of Kingmaker. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. We will have video content created based on the story that our supporters create through that, and it's going to be hopefully a multi-year long endeavor that we will go through all 6 books of the Kingmaker series. So support us if you want to become a part of that, and let's talk about toys.
Oh wait, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Because he's not here and I miss him.
Oh, that's what it is. Of course, you regular loyal viewers know he is speaking of Levi and Levi Spotlight. So this time on Levi Spotlight, we are doing the Dungeon Minister. Is what it is. He has done a lot of recaps from his family's tabletop game that they play through, as well as some at conventions and the like. So if you want to check those out, you can. It's always fun to see how other people are playing their game, because 1, it gives you some information. 2, you can laugh at their bad decisions. So there you go.
Because we all make them.
Because we're all bad players at some point.
And it works out nicely too, because the Dungeon Minister, some of his little bits and bobs, his toys around him talk to him. So it fits right into this discussion.
Yep. Right now he's at 1.82K, so let's get him up to 2,000.
Yeah.
That'd be good goal.
It would be awesome.
All right. Now that we've discussed our announcements. Now that we have shouted out per Levi's Spotlight, now we can truly go into Toy Time Trials. So pull up your chair, grab your preferred beverage, and join us as we discuss it. Skål.
Oh.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk about this one. This one's a little different because in this one, you have to abscond away from the mundane to even get to this category. So they're not going to be, I don't have any mundane recommendations to look at for Toy Time Trials and playing toys and being toys in the game and playing inanimate objects as if they were impersoned. So we're going to go directly.
They are real.
They are real, I knew it. So absurd and fantastical is what we're going to go into. And in this one, we could do something along the line of, for absurd, there's Toy Story. It is, it's on the low level of absurd, but it's still absurd. It and some of the others are about as close as you can get to mundane as you're going to get. So, Toy Story, Small Soldiers, whoever remembers that one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Nomeo.
That's what that works in humans, right?
It's with the Gorgons and humans.
The Gorgons, yes.
Yeah. The monsters and humans, basically. And the human ones in that one were the human toys were the bad guys. And everybody else was having to interact with it. But because it was sci-fi, it was based off of some absurd, it was absurd, which is why I didn't put it in fantastical. Some absurd idea of putting military-grade AI tech into a toy.
Yes.
And then, the story of the toy's background ended up affecting the way the AI behaved. And so the real people had to help the toys defend against the military human toys type of thing. Yeah. So
it's like Dark Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. It's Dark Buzz Lightyear. You want to see what it would really be like to have toys in the couch. But that one's fun to look at. I left it in absurd because there wasn't really a fantastical, magical element happening. It was all about a tech thing. And I do put tech in there sometimes, and that was kind of fantastical. But it still kind of leaned more absurd. So you can argue with me in the comments if you want to. So there's that. There's Nomeo and Juliet.
Right.
That's more of a lawn ornaments type of thing, but toys can apply to that. The same type of play. And this is a good time to remember to shout out Levi's game that he played with lawn ornaments. So we've mentioned that a few times. That was a fun game for him. So you can check out some of our past chats about that.
Yes.
And before we leave the absurd and go directly into a fantastical one, I would say Brave Little Toaster.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Wow.
Brave Little Toaster.
That's a 90s flashback.
Yep. So that one, between that one and the Velveteen Rabbit, you can, if you want to do something, you want to hit some heartstrings, you could do the Velveteen Rabbit.
Yes.
But the Brave Little Toaster actually is a lot, if you want to have an adventure as toys, it was Toy Story before Toy Story was Toy Story, basically. So check it out if you haven't and you want to play this type of game. The only fantastical one that I really could come up with some brief research and something off the top of my head was something like Indian in the Cupboard.
I was thinking about that one. Yeah.
Because there was the magical cupboard. And so that directly is magical, and those did come to life, and someone interacted with them. It wasn't like Toy Story where the toys hid their knowledge and sentience. So that one's very different than the others. So that's the only one I have in fantastical. But I'm willing to be convinced in the comments. So you can always do that.
Oh, yeah.
So now that we have that, let's go ahead and look at... We'll go ahead and re-mention some of the things that were brought up as far as game systems you can play in. There's Powered by the Apocalypse and Fate, which were suggested by Kane, especially for non-combat resolution of conflict. Wanderhome was mentioned by him. Mouse Ritter doesn't necessarily fall into this one unless you're taking more of a adventure style. Sagas is always willing to be broken if you can break it. So that's by Dennis over at OKSDM. And then Open Legend.
I think Sagas would be really good for this, for the toys,
Yeah, because you can play any kind of toy. That's open systems are usually better for that. So something like Open Legend or Sagas, which is kind of those are both setting agnostic.
Right.
They don't. You can play anything in them. Those will work. Sagas is more simple than Open Legend, from what I am understanding. So I would say that if you want something simple and quick, Sagas. If you want something to maybe last several sessions or even longer, or to be kind of a backstory, a side game you go back to when you need a palate cleanser, maybe something that you're already playing in a long-term game, like Open Legend would do. So that's what we have on that as far as different suggestions. So now we're in the general discussion portion. So,
man, there's
a lot of potential in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I missed one.
Oh.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph, of course.
Because video games are toys. So you can... really, it's like playing in a toy box.
Yep. That's a fun jumping off point, too, because with something like that, you can be jumping settings and styles, which, again, shouting out like Sagas, quite literally in the name, and Open Legend, being agnostic and being able to be in whatever setting. If you're playing like video game characters and bouncing between different video games, that could be a lot of fun. Like mixing up your favorite video game characters as a party and having them go on some kind of adventure.
That did make me think of an actual fantastical one. Super Smash Bros.
Oh, yes.
Because it's all happening in the imagination of the kid. So, meta-wise, you know that. But in the actual game, Link is fighting Mario.
Right.
So, and Samus. So, Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to bring in your video games.
Yes. I think, feel free for Adam to argue with me, but also argue with me in the comments, that the video game ones start to push more adventurous because now you have the digital setting and there's a lot of flexibility in shifting it. Whereas if you're looking for something more towards that slice of life feel, something like Toy Story, I think Toy Story, especially the first one, would actually make a great adventure. A couple sessions. Like, Sid being the final BBG, and then you're still having the car race at the end, but you've got your different settings, so you can set your sessions to the different places. You know, it's the arrival of the new toys, party coming together. What's the space? Where's the place they go to that's like
Pizza
Dave
Planet.
and Buster? Pizza Planet, that's right. So there's like On the Road, Pizza Planet, Sid's house, backyard, and then it's set up so nicely because it's a nice structured film that you could really turn that into a multi-session game. That would be a blast. And you've got combat, you've got challenge event stuff. The toys games, I think, especially in general, lend themselves to that without being hardcore. So you're staying still in that slice of life. Like, these are just toys. Like, the combat isn't like bloody gory. I mean, Sid's is terrifying, don't get me wrong. But it's different, you know, but you still get to roll those rolls, so you still feel like you're playing a TTRPG. You're still heroes on an adventure, but the actual scale is quite literally smaller.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing you can do to allow your players to do something, this is an entire adventure idea for you. to mix the digital video games with physical toys. Take that Pizza Planet, Dave and Buster's type of an idea, make it a small mom and pop, and they're just running it. Maybe it's a chain, maybe it's not, but they're so good to all of they take such good care of the place.
Classic, yes.
That all the toys and the video games want them to be successful. They appreciate that success. And then the toys hear about some rambunctious kids that are going to come in and mess the place up. So now you have the video game toy, the video game characters, the arcade cabinets, and the physical toys working together to protect the livelihood of they see them as their caregivers. So that's a way you can do that. You could pull that off. Go full Home Alone with it is what they would do.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
You could do that. You could do, like, if you wanted to go further back, you could do it like the toys and the toy maker. The toy maker doesn't know his toys he doesn't know he's giving life to these things, but they see them as their father. So kind of multiple Pinocchio type of situation, except they pretend. So that's another way you can do that. If you want to take it further back. But I think that would actually be a really fun one-shot, maybe some shot.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it lends itself to the systems we're talking about too, because that's a great way where you're like, okay, you're playing the arcade machine, this specific arcade, and you can let the players come up with that, and it's like, what would you do? What, within the flexibility, the suspension of disbelief we're playing with here, what are the Home Alone type things that you're going to do?
Right.
That would be so much fun to just let everybody imagine and then put roles to it. And oh man, that would be a great time.
Yeah, well, because if you take Wreck-It Ralph as a cue, that means the physical toys had to do the physical stuff in the area, and then the electric toys could go to, like, maybe there's a little small closed circuit system, but it's been messed up for a long time, and they hadn't fixed it yet. But the toys can fix it from the inside. The video game things can fix it from the inside. So they're trying to fix it real quick so they could have the CCTV running while the the other toys are setting up booby traps or stuff like that. And so on and so forth. So
it's classic. I was thinking about, essentially in the same vein, you could do like Beauty and the Beast sort of style with the house when they were all the items in the house. It could be another fun way to do it. And going hardcore slice of life of, like, how do you take care of a castle when it's all these inanimate objects that are now animated? What does that look like? That could be a fun one-shot palate cleanser too.
Yep. And if you're, depending on what you're wanting to do, I think that if you wanted to have something more heartfelt, you go back to those Toy Story ones and the Brave Little Toaster. What if they get left behind? The family moves and they're constantly looking and they fall out of the box on the way to the moving van, and now they have to go find their Andy. They have to go find Andy. Well, that's one. That's pretty strong adventure hook.
Oh yeah,
and
you can. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say that it would eventually build off of that. You can also do some really heartstringy type of stuff. But go ahead with your thing.
Oh, I was just thinking too of the idea of going back to what we've talked about in the previous chats about factions and stuff. Having fun of the idea of, like, the Lost Toys is a whole thing, and there's, like, the whole area under the couch or whatever where there's, like, the one side, all the mismatched socks that are missing. Like, that could be this whole another world that the toys have to pass through to be found again, and just all that stuff. I think the Brave Little Toaster plays that a little bit. Don't they end up in the junkyard at one point? It's been so long. But yeah, that would be that whole idea And Toy Story, of course, plays with it going to be reclaimed or being sent to the
Lost and Found.
The Lost and Found. That's like this whole other world that you have to travel through, and it's got all its own factions in it. There's a lot of fun you could have with this.
Yeah. Well, I think it's 3, when they go to the daycare, there's the toys that get to be played with by the bigger kids, and the toys that get destroyed by the kindergarten, the pre-Ks, all day. So there's plenty of play you can do with that. Just think where toys are and ask yourself what would happen if they were alive and played around and stuff like that, and doing things. And you can have a lot of fun with it. You can do darker stuff with toys. I don't think that a Slice of Life month is the time to talk about it in detail. But you can do darker stuff with toys.
Who brought up Small Soldiers?
Yeah. I mean, even in Small Soldiers, it's pretty absurd.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd.
I
laughed.
Yeah. There's stuff happening, but it's like, none of the neighbors are seeing this? No.
Yeah, right.
No one else is seeing this. No one's calling the cops about shooting off fireworks in the middle of whatever month that was.
Right, in suburbia.
Yeah, in suburbia. I'm like, okay. I mean, as an adult, you're like, yeah, that's absurd. But as a kid, you're like, okay, all right, whatever.
Yep.
So, there's plenty to do with that. You can have a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's something that will necessarily mix particularly well with your game, your more serious games. This is its own type of thing. So this would be... I don't know how well you would work this in with another universe you're playing in. The Seeds of Adventure one and the Game Meets World, both of those were about the building up settlements, homesteady type of stuff in games, and also education-based games set in an educational setting like a school drama or something, respectively. And those can fit into other games. Other settings, I should say. The setting that you have them in doesn't have to be self-contained. You can have them within your other setting. You might need it for this one unless you do some kind of enchanted or magical toys in this one area, like with the Toy Maker or something along that line. Because
Wizard's Tower is always good.
Yeah. And so that's a fun game to play. Play toys inside of a child wizard's tower.
And in that vein too, it could be cool if it's part of one of the quests when they have to do that, and it's a curse where all the characters get turned into toys or toy versions of themselves or something.
There is that. Fun. Getting turned into toys. So, yeah,
Witch's curse always works well.
Yep. But having toys as I think if you find, especially if you have in your setting this fantastical idea of magic, if you have innate magic, and that's something that works into things and can seep into items, perhaps, I'm just spitballing here for the adventure, so perhaps that's how these toys were awakened. This particular prodigy with magic was really good with magic, but was alone. So he made his toy. He had toys, and he awakened them without realizing it. And now the toys don't want to leave the tower. Maybe something happened to the boy, or something along that line. And now they stay in the tower, and they stay there for loyalty to the boy, but they don't know if the boy's alive anymore or not. And so maybe there's something with that. You can go tragic, or you can go happy reunion. So it's kind of up to you.
Velveteen Rabbit style again, to shout that out too.
Yeah.
Tragic with kind of a hopeful-ish ending.
So there's options there.
Yeah. That's cool. That actually, I really like that idea of this like abandoned wizard's tower or something where this young kid used to play, and you're these toys in this abandoned place, and it's this whole adventure just to get out, maybe because you're trying to find him. He's been gone too long. He should have been back soon. We could have some fun with heartstrings on that.
Yep. Not that would ever happen on Avenue Studios, you know.
Nah, we would never be so melodramatic.
Yeah. Don't talk. What do you mean, Cheeks the boy? No.
That's just silly.
Yeah. So, there's that. We are close to our 30-minute mark. So, I think you did last time's final thoughts. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't
I don't
matter.
remember.
No, I did.
We're really good at this. Professionals.
We're professionals. I did. So I'm going to let you kind of kick off our final thoughts then.
Okay. We've gone through so many good things. I think, well, there's always the session zero, like we said. It's finding out what people are interested in playing with this, too. Because this could be a good palate cleanser in the middle of a campaign, like we talked about. Even if you're just jumping away to try something else, these toy story things can be a great way to try out a new system when you've been running a long-term campaign, because like we were talking about, a lot of these flexible systems would be really good for this. And so to test the waters, sometimes these kind of wackier games are a good way to test the water with stuff to see if a group likes it or not. So you can have a lot of fun with it. But on the flip side, these toy games also, you could do a decent campaign in a toy setting. I think Levi with his lawn ornaments can attest to that. So there's this one, I think especially has a lot of flexibility and use to play with. And I didn't say it in the past ones, but comment below if you've done some kind of toy, lawn ornament, some kind of inanimate object, little toaster. I love I gotta show my kids the Brave Little Toaster now. I had forgotten about that one. But comment below if you've run some and how you've used it. What did you go with? The wacky, the dramatic, pulling the heartstrings. But it's a great one to really test the water with some other systems if you're feeling the need to stretch.
Yeah. And my final thought goes in with the idea of something that we talked about in our post-apocalyptic game discussions. Use real maps.
Ooh.
So
that's a great idea.
Not only can you let's go back to our kind of Toy Story-ish idea and say, okay, the toy accidentally got left. Like, they know they were accidentally left. They know they weren't supposed to be left. It wasn't just that they were left behind on purpose. They know that their kid is going to be looking for them and want them and be devastated if they can't find them. So they are going to go to their kid, and they know the address, but it's across town. Do you know what that means? You get to use the town map without having to make a town. All of a sudden, you have not just an entire crawl that you could do.
Right, I was going to say a hex crawl.
It's a hex crawl, but it's a block crawl or something like that. You wouldn't have to do block. You could do something a little bit larger than that. But you could do it where you can say you can make this many blocks you can make about this distance per day or at night, because toys don't have to sleep, I wouldn't think. So, you can make this far, and you've got to get across town to this neighborhood. Giving them the address is a good idea up front. So let them know the address. So now they have to find the address. Now they have to find it on a map. Maybe they have to find a map. Like, dig a map out of someone's car in the middle of the night. That's a whole quest right there. Get a map of town.
Right.
And then make your way. So that could be a campaign to do that. So I think that's fun. You get to use real maps and say that you want to have a dungeon in there that they have to go through. malls make great dungeons, and you don't even have to reflavor them. You don't even have to reflavor them. You just say you have to make it through the mall, or maybe they know that their kid always goes to the mall on this day. So now they have to get to the mall, and they have to get to the kid. And they have to get to the kid's car. All this type of stuff can happen. So now they've got a dungeon that they've got to find their kid in, and they know the kid goes here. They know the kid goes to the mall for karate lessons or something like that. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, you've got these really plausible adventure hooks setting into your campaign naturally, with maps and stuff built in. And that takes the mundane, which is kind of what Slice of Life is about. It takes the mundane and makes it interesting. So take the mundane and make it interesting. So that's mine.
That's great. I would throw out, in addition to that, it's like blueprints of houses and stuff, because toy could be small enough that a whole house is quite the adventure.
It's its own wizard tower.
Right.
And an apartment complex? Goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Well,
that's great.
That's an adventure in and of itself. What do the toys in the apartment complex do all night?
Right. They have their factions and the different floors,
Floor 5, no, go, go. Maybe there's a bunch of military families up on floor 5 or something.
Yes. And like the big, the top floor suites are the really expensive toys, and they, they think so much of themselves.
And the fun thing is, with that type of a thing, the toys themselves don't even have to be serious about it. Maybe it's like their sport. That's how they occupy themselves when they're not being played with, is to play with each other. Because they're toys. They need played with.
That's their purpose.
Their purpose is to play. If they're not playing with others, if they're not playing with kids who they're designed to play with, they'll play with each other when no one's watching.
That's so fun.
And it could be like the top floor keeps track of everybody else's scores through the year.
Yes, they have betting rooms and stuff for the game.
Yeah, and then the reps from the floor go up to the top, and they're like, "All right, we lost this one. All right, we won this one. We won this one. All right, we're changing the scores."
That's a great idea. Real quick, other thought I had final thought is the fun thing about a toy game too, on a lighthearted side, is that you can really lean into a trope or a stereotype or a toy. Mm-hmm. Like the soldier toy is over the top stereotypical soldier, right? And like
all the army
bear.
Men.
Yes, it's Toy Story, right? But like even more so, that's one of the fun things is you can be quite hyperbolic with it, and it'll just fit right in.
Well, it'll not only fit in, it'll make logical sense. It'll make in-universe sense that they would be this way. So, there you go.
Yep. I love it.
All right. Well, we've come to the end of this one, and it's been pretty good. We forgot to do comments to do in the last two.
That's true.
Shame on us. So, here's the thing.
The comment for this one?
Yeah. Shame
on us.
Shame on us is the comment for this one. And the comments for the last ones show how much you care about leaving comments.
Ooh.
The comments for the Game Meets World is, let's see. We've got, let's do Doug. I watched Doug. Let's just do that.
Ooh,
I watched Doug. And then the one for Seeds for Adventure is let's do Stardust Cowboy or something like that. I don't know. Something crazy.
Sure, that's fun.
Stardust Cowboy.
We rely on Levi for these. He always has the little quips.
Yeah. This is why we need Levi or Scrat. Tell you what. All right. So that's
I love that.
Comments this time.
I watched Doug, Stardust Cowboy, and shame on us.
Shame on us. So, all right.
Love it.
As always, Have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.
Okay, so that one came out good. Lay that down. Okay, now we get to the strange ones. We're getting to
Toy Story.
Toy Story, yep.
And actually, I was thinking about this made me think of Levi's garden toys, or what would you say? What do you call it?
Lawn
garden
ornaments.
Decorations game. Lawn ornaments. That was it.
Mm-hmm. We'll probably have to mention that for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I always forget those. I probably need to write some down on my notes, just so I have them.
I know. I mean, it's quite literally. It's usually with like Levi or so, when you have other people. It's that was funny.
Yep.
We're just not the funny guys, I guess.
No, we're not the funny ones.
We're just here.
All right, I'm gonna check this one.
Sounds good.